The cloud children. You probably think that clouds always float high in the sky, don't you? But that isn't true at all, at least not always. If I explain it to you carefully, you'll remember that you've seen clouds right down on the ground before. You don't believe me? Well, just think of a thick mist. Those are clouds that hang so low that they brush against the earth. Have you ever walked through the mist? You can't see a thing, and it's so easy to get lost. You wouldn't believe how many children have lost their way in the fog. But listen closely. I shall tell you an incredible story of the lost mist children and a castle high up in the clouds. Many years ago, in a remote village, there lived a girl of a very special nature. This girl, who went by the name of Sofie, had a strange dream about a staircase every single night. Every night she dreamed of climbing this staircase. It was a very special one, for you could never see the end of it, climbing higher and higher. Something drove her to conquer the many steps as quickly as possible, even though it seemed as if the stairs would never end. The dream was so vivid that she finally set out to find this staircase for real. She didn't know exactly why, but she was certain she had to find it, and she had to hurry. No matter who she asked, no one had ever heard of these stairs. She had no choice but to leave her home village, for she surely wouldn't find them there. She wandered through the fields to the country road, and whenever she met a horseman or saw a carriage stopping, she asked about the stairs. "No, young lady, I've never heard of such a thing." These were the kinds of answers she received. There she sat, alone on a bench in a lovely forest clearing late one afternoon, hardly knowing where else to look. Sofie nibbled on a piece of bread and cheese, drank a few sips of delicious grape juice, and frowned as she wondered what to do. Well, all alone here, twilight is coming. And then what? Sofie was astonished when suddenly, out of nowhere, a fairy stood before her. It could be nothing else. She was so delicate to look at, and had a resonant voice that seemed to delight every plant. Sofie answered truthfully, "I have a task to complete, and when it gets late, I shall lie down here in the warm moss, sleep for a while, and continue my search tomorrow." "But child, what are you looking for?" "Dear fairy, every night I have the same dream of a staircase that I must climb quickly. Now the dream has become so urgent that I have set out to find it. I only know one thing. I must find this staircase and climb it swiftly, though I don't know why." "Ah," said the fairy, "you are looking for the stairs to the cloud castle. Well, you won't find them that way, but wait, perhaps I can help you." "Help? That would be wonderful. I have asked so many people on my long journey and no one has been able to help me. Let me tell you, the staircase is not in a fixed place. It can be here one moment and there the next. You would have to meet by purest chance the staircase and you, if I didn't give you a bit of advice. And you would do that? Only if you do something for me in return." "But what could I do for you?" "Well, the thing is, I also have a task to fulfill, but for that, I need a completely human shape. Would you lend me your likeness for 10 days? "Yes, gladly, but how would that work? And 10 days is a long time when I am in such a hurry." "I could cast a deep sleep over you, and you would sleep here invisibly in the moss without your shape. I will take your form and accomplish my task. Then I will come back and wake you, and you will wake up in your own body and think that not a single day has passed, because I will have stopped time for you. Then I will tell you where to find the stairs and give you 2 little helpers so that you can return safely. Is it a deal?" Let me think for a moment. It's not every day that you give up your own shape. Something could happen to you and you might not return. And then I would sleep here forever, lost and forgotten. I see you are a clever child. That is likely why you are being sent to the cloud castle. Perhaps you can accomplish the task that so many before you have failed. It is about the lost children." "Lost children? My dream said nothing of that." "You will understand when you reach the top. But what shall we do if you don't return?" Listen, do you see that marigold over there? Yes. I will ask it to wake you in exactly 10 days, if I truly cannot return. However, the marigold cannot restore your human shape. Then I would be invisible forever? Alas, yes. At least until you meet another fairy, to whom you must tell the story of Elenell Sun-Dance, then she can give you back your form. Elenell Sun-Dance. What a beautiful name. Do not worry. I shall certainly be back in 10 days. So Sofie lay down, and Elenell Sun-Dance put her into a deep sleep. The fairy took Sofie's shape, warned the marigold, and hurried off to find an old, sick troll who was terribly afraid of fairies. But in Sofie's form, he was not afraid, and she could prepare his medicine to make him well again. Sofie slept, and as you might expect, she dreamt of the stairs again. But because she slept for 10 long days and nights, the dream was much longer, and Sofie finally understood her task. For the first time, she climbed the entire staircase and reached a path leading through the clouds. When she turned around, the stairs had vanished. She continued on her way until she stood before a great white castle, but then someone gently shook her shoulder. "Wake up, Sofie. Wake up. I am back." Sofie opened her eyes. She was still in the soft moss, and before her stood Elenell Sun-Dance. "Are the 10 days over already?" "Yes, my child," replied the fairy, "and I am back on time. Now let me help you find the stairs." "The stairs, exactly. In my dream, I climbed them all the way to the clouds. I saw a huge white castle up there." "You saw the castle? Then perhaps you will indeed succeed in rescuing the lost children, as so many have tried before you." "I didn't see any children there." "I shall tell you the story so you know what you are facing. In that castle live all the lost children who wandered into the mist here on earth and could not find their way home. You can imagine how sad their parents are. Every now and then, special people get the chance to climb the stairs, but so far no one has managed to return. You will find not only children up there, but also those special people who also dreamed of the stairs." "And can you truly tell me how to find them?" "Yes. You are already so far from home that you need not wander any further. Just stay here until the mist comes. Then you will find the stairs at once. But beware, the others failed because they could not find their way back. Once you reach the top, the stairs disappear and the way back is lost, no matter how long you search." "Then how am I to find my way home?" "Because you lent me your shape, I want to help you. Here is a ball of genuine fairy hair. The thread is endless. Tie the end to a stone or a tree down here before you climb, and never let go of the ball. Just keep unwinding it. It is a very strong thread, and no one has ever seen its end. With the thread in your hand, you will easily find your way back." Elenell handed Sofie the ball of fairy hair and hugged her goodbye. "I will be here when you return," she promised. Then she vanished, and Sofie sat down to wait for the mist. The next day began with a thick morning fog. Sofie quickly tied the thread to a strong tree and walked into the mist. It was like a thick, white soup. Ouch! Sofie had bumped into something. A stone seemed to lie across her path. She felt around and found a step, then another above it, and another. It was the staircase. Hurrah! I've found them, the white stairs! Then began a long, long climb. Every now and then, Sofie sat down to eat a bit of bread or cake from her basket. Finally, she knew not how long it had taken, she reached the top. She held the ball of fairy hair tightly, for everything depended on it. Just like in her dream, she followed the path. Turning back, she saw the stairs were gone, but there in the cloud was the thread leading back into the white void. Soon she stood before the cloud castle and knocked on the high white gate. As if by magic, the door opened. Children came running from every corner, from rooms, halls, from above and below. There were so many children, all staring at her. "Good day," Sofie said. "I am Sofie, and I dreamed of your castle." The children came closer. "Would any of you like to go home and see your parents again?" They surrounded her instantly. "Me! I do! Please take me too!" Sofie had to speak very loudly to be heard. "I will take all of you. Not a single child will be left behind." "And how will you do that? I have tried before," said a young man who had been sitting among the children. He stood up, towering over the rest. "It is very simple. I shall tie every child to this thread. One child follows the other. That way we find the stairs, and down below, a dear friend of mine will have gathered all the parents." The children were thrilled. Many had waited for years. But here, time stood still. They had not aged or grown. Sofie had a great task ahead, tying all those tiny hands to the fairy hair. It took days of making knot after knot. Finally, everyone had left the castle. Sofie closed the gate and followed as the last in line. Hopefully no more children will stray here, but at least they were well cared for. One child helped the other. Sofie shared all the treats from her basket, and miraculously it never became empty. Even the longest journey ends, and Sofie was the last to leave, taking a small leap from the very last step. But she was amazed. She wasn't in the forest, but in a large market square. And there stood Elenell Sun-Dance, having wound the thread back into a ball. Every parent was there, and the joy was beyond words. One by one, the families went home, until only Sofie and Elenell remained. "Sofie, you did a wonderful job. And what will you do now?" "I don't know. I have no parents, and my grandmother passed away last year. Who knows where another task awaits me? During your absence, I told your story to the Fairy Council. Even the elders admired your courage. They have decided you have what it takes to join our ranks. If you wish, come with me. You shall have a fairy name, a new home, and magic powers for a very long life." Sofie was overwhelmed. She went with Elenell, was presented to the council, and received the fairy name Sofina Mist-Child. From then on, she was one of the many fairies who help people in hopeless situations. So, if you ever find yourself at a loss, just call for her, Sofina Mist-Child. Perhaps she will help you too.